Join me as I turn this into this, my DIY lace dreamcatcher. So today I'm going to show you how to make these awesome lace dreamcatchers. Aren't they beautiful? I love them. I make them all the time for gifts, give them to friends. You can find this whole craft kit at socialcrafts.com under our party craft boxes. So you get all the supplies to make 1 to 5 to 10, invite some friends over and have a party, do this together. It's super fun and they turn out super individual and beautiful. Everyone's turns out different and that's what I love about this craft. So let's get started and I'll show you how. First, we're going to choose our materials. There's going to be a few different lace doilies, and we're going to see how each works with the ring. So you're going to want to start with some scissors, choose the yarn that you want to use, and some tape. We'll get started with that. I'm going to show you how each of these lace doilies kind of work with the ring. This larger lace doily is going to overlap the ring so you barely will see it. These other two, you will see the ring more. It'll be wrapped in yarn, but you'll see the ring more and it'll only be attached at certain points on the ring. The doily will stretch to meet the ring, and that's how these doilies will work. Some of the doilies are even smaller that they won't even stretch to reach it. The yarn will just connect it. I'm going to show you first with this doily how we're going to wrap it. So choose the string you want to use, and then you're going to do about 4 arms length, which is about 4 yards worth of yarn. Go ahead and cut it there. Wrap the end of the yarn with tape. Wrap it pretty tight and then roll it like this. And you're going to cut it at an angle, and that will be used as like a needle so it won't fray. If you were to use the other side, it would fray. So you're going to work with that side of the yarn. Next, kind of check out how the doily, how you're going to wrap it, and then we're going to attach the yarn to the ring. Go ahead and double knot the string. Leave that tail there because we're going to connect that at the end. You'll then want to go ahead, before you actually start wrapping, go ahead and super glue that knot to the ring. It'll just help it stay tight. Then you're going to start wrapping. With this doily, you don't have to wrap as tight as the other doily. You'll be wrapping the edge of the doily around the ring and then using the yarn to go through 2 layers of the doily as it attaches to the ring. You can see I'm using that taped side of the yarn and using it to go through each of the holes of the doily. This one, you can go through as many holes as you want. You can kind of skip a few holes if you want. And you can see I'm starting to create a pattern around the ring with the yarn. Of course, use whatever color yarn you want to use. If you want to use a lighter color yarn, it's easier for me to show you with this dark one here. So now I'm just going to show you how to attach this one. Techniques on how. You obviously can use whatever techniques you want, but this is what I do. So to make sure my spacing is correct, I then use some string or another color of the yarn than what I'm actually going to be wrapping my whole hoop with. So I take little pieces of the string and just double knot each point of the doily to the hoop. This will help me keep my spacing as I continue to wrap the rest of the hoop with the yarn. So I'm doing this with each point. Sometimes it's easier to fold over the string to get it through those little holes in the doily. And I attach each side across from each other. And I'll do this with all 6 points or however many points you have with your lace doily. If you do have a lace doily that doesn't stretch all the way to the edge, this is really helpful as well too, so you can get your spacing right so it floats in the middle. So I'm keeping on doing this with all edges, and once it's done, we start to wrap the yarn that we're going to use around the whole hoop. So starting again with one of the ends, you're going to tape the end and roll, just like we did with the other one. Roll it tight and then cut it as an angle, and you'll be using that as a needle basically. Then take the untaped end, pick a point on the hoop, and double knot this end to the hoop. You're going to double knot again, leaving a tail because we'll need that at the end. Leaving a tail attached, and then you're going to super glue that knot. I also like to put a tiny little super glue onto the ring and then push the yarn over it, because then it will help the yarn from not twirling while you're trying to wrap your yarn. So let that go ahead and dry all the way. And like you see here, I'm choosing different points. 1 to super glue the knot tight, and 2 to super glue the knot to the ring. Once it's dry, I start to wrap the ring super tight. I'm wrapping the ring with the yarn super tight, and then I'm pushing it down towards the knot to make sure it's even tighter. I'm holding it with my left hand, wrapping with my right, making sure all is tight. And I keep going until I reach that first point on the lace doily where I have it tied with the other string. Once I reach that point, I'm going to use my scissors, cut that other string off, make sure you don't cut your doily, remove that string, and I do a few more wraps there with the yarn just to make sure I'm getting right to the point that I want to. And then I'll take my taped end, because that's like kind of the needle, it's the non-frayed side, and I'll go through the holes of the doily where I want it to be attached to the ring. In this case, there are 2 holes in the doily, and I'm going to go through both. But you'll see here, it gets a little loose, but you can tighten it back up. I go through the doily, and then I pull tight, and that is where the point meets the ring. I go around. I was trying to decide here if I was going to go through both holes, and I'm deciding to. So now I'm taking the taped end again, going through both holes on the point of, I'm going through the second hole of the point of the lace doily, pulling it through, making sure it's tight, and then I'll continue on wrapping, and I'll continue that process at every point of the doily I get to. So we'll just fast forward here, and you can see that I'm wrapping it all the way around, continuing that technique. All right, so when I get to the end, I tie the remaining string to that tail that we had connected to the first knot we made. Do a double knot, and then go ahead and super glue again. I like to super glue. This knot can be covered with all the other trims that we're gonna attach. So once it's dry, wait till it's dry, and then you're gonna cut off the ends. We're then gonna decide where our top center is. I like to make sure all the trims will cover that knot that we made on the hoop. So that's gonna be my top center. And where we're gonna do our top center, we're gonna create the loop that it will hang from. I use the remaining piece of yarn that we use to wrap. If you don't have any, that's fine, just grab another piece, but I'm using the remaining piece. So you make a, you double a piece of yarn like this, then you do an overhand knot just to make a knot at the end. So you're making a loop with this piece of yarn. We're then going to attach it to the center top of our Dreamcatcher. So using that folded side, the loop side, I go ahead and push it. This is where I want my center to be, so I have to get it actually through the lace. But if you're not getting it through the lace, you're just going through the hoop, you can just go straight under the hoop. Then you're going to take the knotted end, go through the loop that's under the ring, and pull tight. And that's your top center. And that's where you will hang your dream catcher from. Next, we're gonna work on adding trims to the bottom of the hoop here. This is where you can get really experimental, where it can get really fun to start adding different fabrics, different trims, ribbons, using different yarns. So I'm just gonna start here with the yarn we used. You wanna think of how long you want your yarn tails, and you wanna double it and cut it. I'll show you why you wanna double it. You can also do it longer than you actually think you want, because you can always trim it. That's what I like to do. I like to trim it at the end. So these pieces are longer than that I actually want it, but I just want to trim it. Then you're gonna fold your trim in half, and this is how you're gonna attach it to the hoop. Any trim you make it about double the length you want it, because you're gonna fold it in half. Then put the loop over the ring, reach through the ring with your 2 fingers, or reach through the loop with your 2 fingers under the ring and pull those tails out. And there you go, it's attached. And that's what you're gonna do with every piece of trim at the bottom of your dream catcher. So then again, we're gonna put the loop on top of the ring, reach through the loop, and pull out the tails. With fabric, to make little strands of fabric that are cute and ruffly, what you can do is just cut a little slit in the top of the fabric and pull the 2 edges apart, and it will rip. It'll rip actually a lot easier than you think it will. And you're gonna attach it the same way. Fold it in half, put it over the loop, and reach through, pull it through. I like to also get a lot of those little strands off. When you rip it, there tends to be a lot of the little threads left on the fabric. And then you can add in other fun yarns. I added in some other creams in here, some laces. Get really creative with it, you know, or you can do all monotone if you want all whites, all creams. That's great too. This is so fun because everyone's turns out so different at this point. Again, with the fabric, all you have to do is cut a little slit on the top and then just pull, and the fabric will rip, and it'll make really cute rough edges and make it kind of not super straight fabric, just really kind of fun and curly. Now I'm gonna trim. I actually like holding up my dream catcher when I decide to trim. I do it this way as well, but use your own imagination. You do not have to do it in a V. You can leave it super long. You can leave it straight. You can do whatever you want, but I decided to do a V for this one. Now I'm going to show you how to attach beads and feathers. And this is my own technique. Feel free to use your own technique, whatever you can come up with. Use your imagination at this point. I'm kind of laying it out right here, trying to decide what I want. And I think I'm going to show you first right here how to attach a bead. It's really very simple. I use a skewer and I push the end of the fabric through the bead and just pull it out the other side. A lot of the times the fabric is thick enough where it'll grab onto the bead and it'll hold itself. If you feel like it's not thick enough, right here, I don't feel like it's thick enough. So I'm going to push the bead from where I want it, add a little hot glue to the fabric of where I actually want the bead to be placed, and then I push the bead over the hot glue, and then it will keep that bead in place. I'm going to do that for the rest of the beads that I want on here. Next, I'm going to show you how I attach feathers. And the way I do on this particular one is I am going to put a bead over the 2 feathers, and I'll show you what that means. I'm making sure the feathers fit in the bead right now. So first I put the bead on. This is the bead that's going to cover the end of the feathers. And I put it on first, and I push it up towards the fabric, away from the end. Then I am going to hot glue the feathers to the ends of the fabric. And so since I don't want to see those ends, I then slide the bead down over the fabric and the ends of the feathers. You might see a little extra hot glue hanging out the end, and that's fine. I just usually let it cool and then pick it off after. I also have done feathers, not with beads, but I've taken twine or other fabric or yarn and then wrap the ends of the feathers with the yarn or the twine instead of the bead. And here I just felt like it needed a little bit more, so I just wanted to add a little more. So if you feel like yours needs something else, add it, take it away, just use your imagination. Have so much fun with this.
Congrats guys on finishing your Lace Dreamcatcher. Yours is so beautiful. I'm so happy you joined me for this craft. Remember, you can find us at socialcrafts.com. You can buy another craft kit if you haven't bought one yet. Go ahead and head there, buy a craft kit, buy 10 for you and your friends so you can have a craft party. Crafting is always more fun together. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook at Social Crafts. Our handle's at Social Crafts, just straight through. And also, don't forget to thumbs up this video if you liked it. Subscribe to our channel here. Do that so you can see any next videos that we have coming up. And go ahead to socialcrafts.com and see what other craft kits we have. Thanks for joining us.